Good Monday afternoon to you. Welcome to the Jon Sanchez Show on News Talk CKOH. It's a pleasure to be with you and a pleasure to be with my brother, Dr. Dennis Sanchez, the AI doctor. Happy post-Christmas, bro.
Hey, happy post-Christmas to you too. It's kind of a hangover today, isn't it?
It, it
From the
is. Yeah,
holidays.
I
It's
will.
a weird vibe.
It's a weird vibe. This whole week is going to be a weird vibe. It was a weird vibe last week. Yeah, I think Friday was probably the toughest day for me. It just did not feel like a work day.
Hmm.
Today, a little bit more in the mode. We had a nice company post Christmas gathering at a local restaurant. So I'm kind of mixed
Nice.
right now. Yeah, kind of mixed right now.
Yeah.
We were going to do it last week, but bad snowstorm. Couldn't make it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm glad you could do
How was
it.
the Chris? How was the Christmas for the family?
Good, good. Just played games, goofed around, and good company, and ate a lot, and had a few beverages. But it was
Right, of
great.
course.
See everybody.
Adult cocktails. Got to do that. Got to do that. Well,
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
In fact, it was
That's
even
so
so
cool.
warm one night. Sat outside. It was about 75
No
degrees.
kidding. Jeez,
Yeah.
unreal. Yeah, it's you just never know this time of year. You just never know. That's for sure. All right, folks. Well, again, I hope each and every one of you had a wonderful Christmas, and yeah, got the brand new year right around the corner from us. And I wish each and every one of you, of course, as we will be discussing a tremendous 2026. All right, let me tell you what Dennis and I have lined up for you. From smart glasses to autonomous assistants, AI is coming in a lot of different ways that we've never seen before. It's about to become the invisible force behind how we shop, how we learn, how we travel, how we live, right? All these different things. Well, today we're going to be covering 5 of the key game changing trends that you are going to see in the year 2026. And, Dennis, I love this term game changing trends because there is so much cool stuff. I mean, besides all the stuff that you and I talk about or we've talked about throughout the year, as far as obviously solopreneurship and familypreneurship, et cetera. But on a personal basis, I think this is going to be really fun to talk about some of these different things that are going on. Like you said, the smart glasses is one. Have you tried those yet? I have not tried those yet.
I haven't, and I'm not around geeks anymore.
Right.
So those are the people that would wear it when I worked at Microsoft. So yeah, they had them. But I noticed that
Did they really?
the company that I buy from, Warby Parker, that where I get my glasses,
Yes.
they're one of the
Normal
leaders
glasses.
in producing them.
Interesting. Interesting. Yep. Yep. It's
But
amazing.
we'll go over just how some people are using them because it's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, no, I do that. I want to do that. And then tell us a little bit more about some of the other cool things that you want to bring to the table.
Well, when we go through these categories, you're going to notice that we've heard of them before, but they're maturing. And that technology that's behind these categories now is really almost sometimes a leading edge of new things to come. So these are good ones to watch and be ready for lots of new products coming out. This is where companies are making money on AI. So you're going to see a lot more of it. And some of these categories are just really blooming. So you hardly even recognize them.
Interesting. What is probably going into 2026? What is probably your number one thing that you're looking forward to from an AI perspective?
I'm looking to see the continuity. Well, two things. ROI, which has been kind of sitting in the background for a long time. We've had this huge lead of new technology coming, new technology and stuff all the time. But we're getting to the point and the maturity with some of these products where, especially in the enterprise and in businesses, they're looking for the return on investment. That's going to be critical because it's going to dictate how much money organizations are going to spend on this technology. I honestly don't know if they have a choice. I think they have to, but
Yeah,
how
no, they
much
don't.
and where they spend it will be the big question.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And that's one thing on from a Wall Street's perspective, of course, that we're trying to focus on is who are going to be the winners, who are going to be the losers. Like you said, they've come too far. All right. They can't turn around. They know they have to do it. And this is, I think, one of the biggest challenges that any company, big or small, is facing at this point is it's like you gotta the old adage, you gotta plug your nose and jump into the pool because if you don't,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
pool is going to be empty pretty soon. You'll never be able to jump into it, right? You'll never be able to get into that pool. So obviously we're seeing companies with massive balance sheets, i.e., the Googles and the Oracles and
Hmm.
obviously the Open AIs, et cetera, that are really leading the pack with everything. But again, there's so many companies that that you just haven't even heard of yet that are getting gobbled up, right? We're starting to see such a tremendous amount of acquisition going on. And, this is nothing, I think, what we've seen 2025 compared to what we're going to see in 2026 from a acquisition standpoint. I mean, Friday, not long after the stock market closed, you think, oh, okay, we're done and everything. Well, here comes the news that NVIDIA made the biggest purchase of a portion of a company. They didn't buy the whole thing, called Grok. Jason was all excited because his
Right.
brother works there, and he reaches out to me. He goes, "Oh my God,
Ah.
they just got bought, and a portion of them, but $20 billion. I mean, that's NVIDIA's largest purchase." So I think, to your point, you're going to see more and more of these companies buying these other ones that already have the technology, they already have the personnel in place, and those are going to be, I think, some of the big names. We could very easily start to see the NVIDIAs and the Microsofts, et cetera, of the world. We could actually start to see them slow a little bit next year, but a lot of these smaller
Mm-hmm.
names begin to surface that, again, we don't even know that they exist at this point. But man, there are so many new and young and exciting companies out there. That's one thing that I'm really looking forward to from an AI perspective in 2026. Also, I think the last thing is just seeing the engines get even better, right? You're seeing, Chat GPT, you're seeing Copilot, you're seeing so many of these. Just they're improving. It seems like on a weekly basis, sometimes on a daily basis, and I think that's going to be really exciting to watch in 2026 and see how they continue to transform, because they can't sit on their laurels, because every time one brings it up a notch, here comes
Mm-hmm.
the other and the other. So I think that part is really interesting.
One thing to keep in mind, there still are a lot of people that aren't using it. So there's still a tremendous upside of the user base. Like you said, I would encourage everybody to get involved one way or the other. And these categories we talked about today are very, very friendly. You don't even know you're using AI, but it's helping you in it's technology that'll help you even at home.
Yes, yes. Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, like with the show we did last Monday with you, where we're talking about how to use these different apps, right? If you missed it, please go back and listen to the podcast,
Yep.
because Dennis brought up some great apps that work tremendously to organize our lives, from tracking finances to things to do to tracking goals. I mean, the list goes on and on. I don't think as human beings, Dennis, that we have any excuse anymore to say I couldn't be successful or productive because of this or that. Every tool is out there to do it now.
Well, I just trained my 80 plus aunt and uncle the other night on Copilot. So it doesn't matter how old you are. It's just, if you're open minded, they were amazed at the things it could do.
Were
And
they
Uncle
though?
Danny was
Yeah.
looking at,
What was
he's
yeah? What was the reaction? Sorry.
blown away. He collects cars, so he knows every little detail about a Chrysler that he has. But he started asking Copilot questions about his car and the history and all those things. He's, oh my God, that's correct, and it just opened up all that information to him. He said would take months to get through the normal channels.
Isn't that something? Yeah, that had to be exciting for you to see Uncle Danny do that, and
Yeah,
go through somebody that's like brand new to it, right? You and I live and breathe it every single day, but to see somebody brand new, it's like, you're just launching a whole new generation and the older generation, right?
that's right.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, again, our theme will be AI in 2026, 5 consumer predictions that will change everyday life. That's what we'll get to when we get back from the break. But in the meantime, let me get down to the stock market side of things. Not the day that we wanted, coming back from Christmas and thinking, all right, volume's going to be light. So it's going to be kind of quiet. Well, let me tell you, this final week of the year is always anything but. You either have one extreme or the other. You either have the extreme where you see a lot of portfolio rebalancing, again, what we call the window dressing side of things, right? Where portfolio managers are doing tax loss selling, they're buying things, they're selling things. They want to make it look like, when you look at your final statement for 2025, that they had all the big names that we were just talking about in the portfolio plus more. So there's just a lot of maneuvering going on. Uh, and so, you just really, you don't know. I mean, the algorithms today, there was nothing that could excite them. It was okay in the pre-market session, and then we started to drift a little bit lower as we got closer to the opening bell. And then once the opening bell rang, it was pretty much almost a straight shot down. We had a few periods where we just went flat, but overall, it was just a real sloppy type of day. And again, not the way you want to end the final week. But once again, we obviously, speaking of the week, we still have some phenomenal numbers. We set an intraday high, all-time high on the S&P 500 on Friday. Didn't close there, but intraday. But folks, let's kind of recap where we sit on a year-to-date basis. NASDAQ for the year up 21.6%, the Dow 13.9% gain, S&P 500 up 17.4%, and the Russell 2000 a 13% gain. So, Dennis, those of us that manage money in this world, we wish, like, right now we could just close the books and be, okay, we're done. Let's lock it in. We're not even happy, but
Yeah.
you just hold your breath. these last couple days. And I was mentioning this also on the updates this morning. Just a reminder to everybody: New Year's Eve, it is a full market session. It's not an abbreviated session like it was on Christmas Eve. So just make
Wow.
sure if you have any
Yeah.
trades, last minute things to do, that you are the full trading day there. All right. When we come back, tell you what these markets did. Then we'll get into our topic: 5 consumer predictions that will change everyday life in the world of AI with Dr. Dennis Sanchez. Let us turn it over to Kristen Snow. She's in the Right Now Traffic Center. Hello, Kristen. Back to the Jon Sanchez Show on Newstalk 780 KOH with Dr. Dennis Sanchez, the AI doctor. All right, like I said, wasn't the best day today to start the week, and again coming back from the holiday session. But you know what? It is what it is. Here's how we did. We finished up 249 on the Dow, a 0.51% loss, closing at 48,461. Lost 119 on the Nasdaq, down a 0.5% to 23,474, and a 24-point give up on the S&P 500, down 0.35% to a level of 6,905. On the oil front, a $1.42 gain to a 58.06 a barrel. But the real problem today, folks, it was gold. And $5.80 loss, down 4.5% to $4,345.50. Silver down $6.69, and 82. And then copper, which I never mentioned, it was down 28 cents, 4.8% to $5. Behind it, this thing I can tell you as far as the reason: number one, we're at record levels last week, so some profit taking again going into the end of the year. The other, there's some rumors floating around the street that we're seeing some countries unwind their gold positions for various reasons. Again, diversification, hedging, etc. So, unfortunately, one of the carnage stocks of these gold prices coming down, as you would imagine, were the miners. Newmont today down 5.64%, $5.97 loss to $99.81. Energy sector was strong, 1% gain there. Let's go back to some of the AI trade. NVIDIA was down $2.31, no big deal. About 1.21% loss, 188.22. Palantir down $4.53, and Micron up $9.58, continuing to shine after its most recent earnings report. So again, just a bit of a mixed showing, but nothing too severe by any stretch of the imagination. But I tell you what, Dennis, you've seen those gold prices coming down, over $200 an ounce. I can't remember the last time that's happened in one trade like that. And so that was a little bit of a pucker effect there. But we'll see. I would not be surprised if we see that come back tomorrow and begin to rally. That seems to be the trend.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I keep saying it over. We're talking about AI, of course, but the algorithms will kind of throw them into the same mix as the AI. It's the computer side of things. And when they want to do something, obviously they're programmed by human beings, but when they see certain things, there's just no turning back. There's no stopping it. No amount of trades
Mm-hmm.
can counteract what some of these algorithms do. And today was, I think, one of those days that we saw on the gold side of things. So pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. Okay, so you are up to date in the market. Again, we will see what happens tomorrow. But in the meantime, let's get down to our AI trade. All right, once again, we're going to be talking about 5 consumer predictions that will change everything in our lives. Or let's just say a lot of things in 2026. Okay, Dennis, this is a very interesting one. So let's start with what we were talking about earlier. Let's talk about
Yeah.
the smart glasses hitting mainstream. This is very interesting.
So they've been around for a while. I looked up because honestly, I've never been a serious buyer and considered them. I couldn't really think of a reason why I'd want them, but they range in price between $200 to $3,500. So I think initially they were on the high side. So it was pretty much kind of a status thing to wear them. But nothing I was ever interested in. But it is interesting how they've evolved with the different kinds of features that the smart glasses have now. There is a theme to all of these products today, and that is they're proactive. You can do things; it will anticipate things. But you're very much like one of those spies in the movies wearing those glasses, because you can. So if you were speaking to me in Spanish, I could be translating because of the glasses, and I'd hear the translation in my head while you're talking. You do see things like listening to music, listening to, just things like that you would expect. And those are available in the lower tier types of glasses, but you can also take pictures. It's like having a phone. You're wearing a phone almost in a way. I don't know about talking.
I feel so stupid because I have not
Using
looked
it.
into them one bit. Like you said, I've never thought about, no personal need for them, so I haven't researched them. But now you've got my curiosity.
Yeah.
I've got to do this. I've got to do this.
And I
Here's
don't
the
think
one.
they've, go ahead. Sorry.
Is there one that you favor? I know we have them from Google, from Meta, Apple, so on and so forth. Is there one that you've seen in your research that seems to stand out more than another?
You probably, when you're getting into the higher end, that's probably the Google stuff, and I'd have to be loyal to Warby Parker because I get glasses there every year. So I'd be interested. Warby Park would make them fashionable. So I think when they, for the market to be successful, when they crash that, all of a sudden somebody important has to start wearing those glasses and everybody sees it. And then all of a sudden, I just haven't seen that kind of catching on fire, but keep improving with the features and stuff. And pretty soon it might be a norm where all glasses that we buy have those things available in them, especially if the price, keeps coming down, you never know.
Yeah, exactly.
But so we need to watch out.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Last thing on this. So, anything that you've seen since we're kind of talking about our personal lives and how AI is impacting it, any features that you can see or that you've researched that would help us on a personal basis?
Well, let's see. Let me just take a quick look here at some of these features.
Because my
When you get
concern is,
into
I wore glasses for a lot of years, in combination with my contact lenses, which I've worn since basically high school. And the thought of going back to glasses, I just don't want to do it. I'm too active. I just don't like doing that with my sunglasses. That's been one of my other hesitations also. Yeah, but boy, if you showed me, hey,
But one of the things we're missing is that they are using these glasses in other environments and businesses and
yes,
industry. In fact, for
definitely.
doctors. So there's probably some practical applications besides it just being a cool thing that are more appealing there. But you could just imagine if they've got it figured out that far, what else can they do? X-ray vision? I don't know.
Yeah.
Seeing way in the distance, hypnotizing. Who knows what the capabilities are going to be? But it's a segment to watch and see what else is coming out.
Can't wait. May have to go pick them. And we're kind of looking what, $200 or $300 right now. I know. So is that
The
right?
range is a couple $100 to 35, around 3,500. So it just
35.
just depends on the more sophisticated, the more technology, of course, is in the glasses is integrated in the glasses. The more expensive it's going to be. The lower end are pretty much taking pictures and listening to music.
So your task for next Monday, I want you to have picked up a pair of these and tell us all about them.
Make sure you can bring them
But you
back.
need exactly, exactly. All right. Once again, we're talking about 5 consumer predictions that will change everyday life in 2026 with Dr. Dennis Sanchez. Let's turn it over to Jack Saban. He's got news, traffic, and weather. Hello, Jack. Jon Sanchez show on News Talk 780 KOH with my brother, Dr. Dennis Sanchez, the AI doctor, and joined by our producer and also my daughter,
Woohoo!
Haley Sanchez.
Hello.
Hello.
Did you
I
miss
did
me?
miss you. I did miss you. All right. Let me tell you what happened in the market. Then we'll get back to our topic once again. 5 consumer predictions that are going to change everyday life in relation to AI. 249 loss on the Dow, Nasdaq down 119, S&P gave up 24. All right, so once again, what are some of the cool things that we're going to be dealing with? They're already out there, but they're just getting better. We think 2026 are going to get even better. We touched on our first point, which again is AI smart glasses hitting the mainstream. Now we're going to go to our next point, which is very interesting. Active health wearables. Now, Dennis, before we get to this, and Bailey, before we get to this, let's remind everybody, I'm an iPhone user, as everybody knows. So I'm sure,
Mm-hmm.
there's other health tracking apps and things like that for Android and some of the other phone manufacturers out there. But we saw significant changes this year, I know, on iPhone regarding that. But Bailey, we're going to get to something that you actually have experience in, and actually as of about an hour and a half ago, and that is the wearables, and specifically one that we want to talk about is the Aura Ring. So tell us about that because that has a lot to do with AI.
Well, if you listened last week, we touched on, the food planning aspect with AI software. And the Aura Ring is actually, again, we're not promoting it because we make money on it. It's just simply a product I use. But I use it to track, obviously, my calories throughout all of the fitness and all the things like that. And so I always keep one on to track my sleep, my health, how many calories I'm burning. And so, yeah, I swear by
Did
this
not know it
thing.
did all
What's that?
that.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I can track my temperature as well. It tracks first thing in the morning. So for women, it's tracking, even your fertility, it's tracking.
From a ring,
So it,
just
it
from a ring,
really is worth the money.
just from a
Huh?
ring.
Just from a ring. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very fascinating. And I usually don't. love something that is that intrusive, but it's been a kind of a lifesaver to do my health and food plans and all the things of that sort. I'll tell you what, the price did go up from the last time I bought one. And I am a very gal. I don't buy things for myself that often, but it is worth the money to say the least.
So, okay, so let's just use the calorie tracking for example. So again, I've seen it on your finger, but obviously I don't know much about it. So how does it? So then it's going to download to an app, and then AI is going to evaluate your calories, give you advice, that kind of thing, or explain that.
Correct. Yeah. So you have an app, and so it'll read your temperature, your sleep. It tells me my REM sleep between my light sleep and my deep sleep as well. So when you have those nights where you sleep a
Yes.
long time and you wake up and you're like, why am I so tired? Finally, once I got this ring, it explained to me, you only got an hour and a half of REM sleep versus the 2.5 hours that you normally get. And it starts to make sense. And then you can kind of take that info. And again, I'll take that info and plug it into like ChatGPT and say, here's my sleep. It'll even track the calories you're burning while you're sitting. It doesn't have to be just active calories that you're burning. So you can really take all that data and use it for useful purposes for diet, or if I need more sleep or things of the sorts. And so it really is, I hate to admit it, especially with how much I just spent on it an hour and a half ago, but it's worth it. It really is.
Should have asked Santa Claus for it. See, you screwed that.
So
I know.
one thing that's a little bit different about that wearable, the Aura, is you can't see the display. So that is absolutely a solution. You need to integrate that with the phone. But of course, once it's in the phone, and it's a much better display and more applications and things can happen compared to my watch, which is a smartwatch, and I keep track of my blood pressure and things like that. My sleep, it doesn't go into the same. So I would venture that the Aura Ring is much more accurate than a watch.
So here's
Just
the
because
stupid thing
it's
about
nice
you
to
can measure
even
everything.
Here's the stupid thing about
Yeah.
the stupid thing about the iWatch, like measuring sleep. We all want to do that, right? For all those reasons Bailey mentioned. You need to charge your watch at night. So how the heck do you? It's off your wrist. You can't do that. That's what's frustrating. Because
Well, that's the
Yeah.
nice
I
thing.
love my iWatch. I love my iWatch for a million reasons.
Yeah, the battery lasts you, I mean, with a new one, at least with the Aura Ring, it'll last you about 2 to 3 days. And on top of everything else, it'll track your blood pressure, your daytime stress. So it'll tell you, like, hey, you need to relax right now. Or I like not having a screen on it because I used to have, the Apple Watch, the Fitbit, all
Mhm.
the things, and you become too distracted by it, in my opinion. But if I'm sitting for too long, my app will pop up and say, time to stretch, or, do something, stand up, do something. And you can set goals in there as well, right? With your calories you want to burn or whatever that is. So it'll remind you to stay on top of that. But I like not having a screen on it because it's just another thing to get distracted by.
But Bailey, I have one question for you, as your father.
Be careful.
Do you not think, as anti-government as you are, you don't think the government's tracking all this information?
I don't want to talk about it. It is the one thing, like when I eat fake sugar, I really feel bad about it, but I do it because it's
Right.
there. Yeah, I mean, I already
Okay.
know that they're integrated into my
Okay.
life.
Just want to make sure.
Thank goodness I'm not a criminal, so I have nothing to
Okay.
hide.
No,
But
absolutely, you're not. Your background check came back
yeah, I
clean.
know they're selling my data
You better
somewhere.
believe it. You better believe it. All right,
Yep.
last question, then
Yep.
we'll move on. And what did you just pay for this? Watch this, folks. She's gonna get really upset.
Whew. After tax, I paid $530 for it. Yep. It used to be $200 cheaper when I bought the last one
But
that I
because of
had.
the
So
AI increase and new features and things, they can justify the increase.
I won't lie, I haven't seen any new features yet.
Okay.
It's still worth it though. It holds its value. It's still worth it for me. And especially if you want to get a good little grip on your lifestyle and on things of that sort, it is worth the money.
Okay. All right. Well, something we have to look into, no doubt about it. Dennis, anything you want to add about the Apple Watch?
No, it's one of the key things all these wearables do now is they do tie in with telemedicine. So that's a trend certainly in medical care. A lot more companies, well, people are using telemedicine instead of going into the doctor's office. So that's data they can pull even from the ring and and the output in the phone and stuff like that. So kind of bridging the gap with that kind of stuff.
Great point. Yep, that is a great point. Yeah, I had a friend, matter of fact, a few months ago. He has heart problems, exactly to your point, and his doctor made him get an Apple Watch. And exactly right. So when he goes in, and for the various checkups, yep, they get all the data right off of there. So yeah, I forgot about that one. And right, Bailey, how do you put a price on your health? Right, I've heard
It's true.
people. My
Yeah.
father used to be a paramedic. I've heard him talk about that. Sometimes he had patients where they'd get alerted on the iWatch or on the Apple Watch in regards to heart attack. They're getting a weird arrhythmia and things like that in their EKG and the various things. So,
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. You could be the healthiest person in the world or have health issues. And it's just, I remember I bought it originally because I was sleeping all night and I still woke up feeling tired. And I realized through the app and through wearing the ring that it was my snoring. Actually, I wasn't getting in a deep enough sleep. So I was able to make adjustments from there to fix that problem. So if you care about your health in any sense, I do. I hate to say I recommend $530, but it is worth it with the longevity of the rings.
or you could have just
Yeah.
invested that 500 into maybe a Nvidia or someone that makes these
Yeah, I don't
things,
want
and
to talk
we'll
about
look
it.
back 5 years from now and see which ones. I had to jabber, Dennis. You don't have to jabber.
Honestly, Dad, I'm
It's great.
surprised you don't gift stocks for Christmas. I think that would have been a way better idea.
Your nieces and nephews get those.
Stocks and your socks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Match your 401.
They need
Jason
gift
and I
cards
match
for
your
stocks.
401k. We give you stock every Friday.
Okay,
There you go.
anyways. Merry Christmas.
I love it.
Hey,
All
the
right, Dennis,
next
let's
one
go
I
to the
want to
next
talk
one.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to suggest driverless mobility because we actually have a relative who is a driver in Napa, California.
Really?
Our cousin Cindy's husband, and I talked to him a while back. And these are vehicles, robo-taxi services. They're starting to show up in a lot of places. So he's a chauffeur. He takes customers around Napa Valley and all the wineries. They have, it can be a couple of days or a day and stuff like that. But they have been tracking everything he's been doing in the car, the company that he works for. They have all these devices. It's probably a Lincoln Continental or whatever those big black Lincolns are, whatever that is. But he said by this year, it would be fully automated. So he wouldn't even be driving. In fact, so they're capable. That technology is there right now. The question is, how safe do you feel getting in the car if it was
it's here. I mean,
automated
this is
taxi
why we're
driver?
seeing Tesla. Yeah, this is why we're seeing Tesla stock do so well. The robo taxis and in mainly Austin, Texas, and a few other areas they're rolling it out. But where we're just for our fathers and grandfathers celebration of life in the Bay Area. You got Waymo as a huge part of Google, a huge robo taxi. But here's the reality: they had a bunch of different power outages over the weekend and some of last week, and all those Waymos got shut down before it. So technology's not there,
Wow.
but you're absolutely right, Dennis. And this is why it's so funny when you hear Wall Street strategists talk about Tesla. Of course, they mention Tesla vehicles and things, but Dennis, all the focus, and Bailey, all the focus is on the driverless technology that again is only permissible because of AI. That's where they think the value of the stock is going to be going forward. So that's going to be an interesting one. I still haven't been in one. Bailey, I'm sure you haven't been in one either.
No, but I've seen videos of them getting in car accidents. So I'll tell you that.
No, they're not perfect.
That's going to be a hard one to resolve. Make people feel comfortable and trust the organization.
I like when they get pulled over by the cops. There's a lot of those. Yeah.
Roll down your window.
Roll down your window. Okay, yeah, and there's no one there. Yep, no, that's a fun one. All right, we'll continue in our final segment: 5 consumer predictions that are going to change everyday life with Dr. Dennis Sanchez, Bailey Sanchez. Let's turn it over to Kristen Snow right now, Traffic Center. Hello, Kristen. Welcome back to the Jon Sanchez Show on Newstalk 780 KOH with Dr. Dennis Sanchez, Bailey Sanchez. Once again, we finished down 249 on the Dow, 119 lost on the Nasdaq, gave up 24 on the S&P 500. All right. We've been talking about, again, 2026. It's going to be such an exciting year for many, many aspects. I think it's going to be a great year in the economy. I think it's going to be a great year in the market. Just my personal prediction, my professional prediction, and obviously very excited about how things are going to continue to improve in the world of AI, both from an investment standpoint and our personal life, right? That's what we're trying to roll into today. Dennis, let's talk about, I guess we call this a little bit of a follow-up from last Monday's show, or once again, if you missed it, please pick it up on Apple Podcast or Spotify, wherever you want to listen to your favorite iTunes. And that is the autonomous AI personal assistant. Let's talk about that for a moment.
So at this time last year, we were talking about autonomous AI agents, and these are agents that work by themselves. And They're proactive to the extent where they can anticipate things that you want, the way you think, and what you're going to do. You're talking about technology that gets to know you and can make decisions all on its own. Of course, it's supposed to be things that you find valuable. It's not going off on a tangent, but this technology a year ago was somewhat far-fetched. They talked about it, but no one anticipated that it would already be here so quickly. And it's really been around for about half the year. So we can look forward to more developments here. We're just going to have to get used to that relationship with something that part of this technology that can work by itself. So the difference between, let's say, a chatbot a year ago or 2 years ago, something that's automated that you experience on the phone, or you go online, you're looking for something, you're getting help. The difference is, instead of waiting for instructions, it actually looks at information about you that you've asked about before. It will remind you of where you left off the last time that you interacted with it. I'm talking about something that you use frequently, not something where it's a first interaction.
Give me an example. Give me an example.
So just say it's, for example, a type of paper or something you write on a particular topic. You can get a sense of that even right now in ChatGPT and Copilot, where you'll start with a topic, and then in the middle of it, you'll get a reference like, "Hey, do you want me to connect that with something we did about 3 days ago?" That's thinking ahead, being proactive. When it's not autonomous agents, it might even, before, when you first start, be more proactive and say, "Hey, I've already done this research and I have this list of books, based on the topic that you were." So taking it one step further on its own.
I could think of one, and maybe it's already there because I can't keep track of everything. Let's say tax time, right? We know every April 15th taxes are due. That autonomous agent could come in and go, "Hey, you know what, John? It's March the 1st. Let's start gathering all of your receipts and your personal information, et cetera, and just walk you through." That's where I see a lot of activity.
Yeah, that is more on a personal level like that. But we've had personal assistants with computers for a long time, those little tools and things in various forms. But now it's something that's it's going to get to know you more and more over time, and you'll find it to be, extremely helpful or irritable. Because you don't want to be bugged about it, right?
Yep. No.
Yeah, scary.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. Or our last point that we want to mention, but we're out of time, the predictive smart homes. I know many of you are already using these with things like Home Nest and many other different things like that. I have not experienced that, the Alexa and so on and so forth, but that's something I want to play around with this year. I know I'm a little behind the times on that one, but it's everywhere, folks. It's going to control us. I feel sorry for your generation, baby.
And the top product seems to be the smart thermostat in that category.
The smart thermostat. There you go. All righty, family. Great job today, as always. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We do appreciate it. God bless. We'll see you tomorrow on the Jon Sanchez Show. Take care.
See you next year.
Jon Sanchez is a registered investment advisor, and the opinions expressed by Sanchez Gaunt Capital Management, LLC on this show are their own and do not reflect the opinions of News Talk 780 or its parent company, Cumulus Media. All statements and opinions expressed are based upon information considered reliable, although it should not be relied upon as such. Any statements or opinions are subject to change without notice. Information presented is for educational purposes only and does not intend to make an offer or solicitation for the sale or purchase of any specific securities, investments, or investment strategies. Investments involve risk and, unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Information expressed does not take into account your specific situation or objectives and is not intended as recommendations appropriate for any individual. Listeners are encouraged to seek advice from a qualified tax, legal, or investment advisor to determine whether any information presented may be suitable for their specific situation. Past performance is not indicative of future performance.